Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching The Inside Scoop. I'm your host, Steve Scanlon. Sitting next to me is my co-host, Bubba. Welcome, Bubba.
Steve.
And sitting all the way across the stage here is, shall I call you Joey or Hardcore Kidman?
I don't want.
Just as long as I don't call you late for dinner. Okay, Joe. We'll call you Joe for tonight.
Okay.
Okay, well, we are finally back doing a new episode of The Inside Scoop. As was it 6 weeks ago? Last time we did a taping.
4 weeks ago.
4 weeks ago.
It was before Christmas.
Okay. Now, due to COVID and due to our sad circumstance where we had a wake last week, we are finally back, and it's good to be back on stage, and it's good to be talking about what we like, wrestling, and other topics. Now, unfortunately, our guest that we had
8 weeks ago.
We are referring to one of my older brothers, John, has passed away from COVID, unfortunately. And we like to dedicate this episode to him and also to the other people who passed away recently, who Joey's going to read off on his list in a couple minutes. But we'll talk more about John later on, because I don't want to get too emotional.
Let me help a little bit with this. Guys, I've been doing this show now for 3 years. Yeah. I've come on as Bubba. As like in wrestling, I mean, it's a character name. Mm-hmm. My name is Robert Burke, okay? I'm a 55-year-old man. Had the pleasure of taking John out of his home one of his last times. Went to a doctor's appointment together. John wasn't feeling well. I wasn't feeling well. And the time when we all got sick, I've been preaching to people about COVID. I've gotten COVID. Joe was in COVID protocol. Steve got COVID. Mm-hmm. His brother Jim got COVID. I think maybe his sister-in-law had COVID too. It's a possibility. I don't know.
The nieces got COVID.
The nieces got COVID. Okay. It's rampant right now out there with COVID. It's rampant. To be home with double pneumonia. I had double pneumonia. I also had COVID. Wow. All right. I spoke to John on the telephone when he was in the hospital. Local hospital that you all folks are familiar with. I'm not going to mention it. You know where I'm talking. He told me he wasn't doing well. He told me he's having trouble with his breathing, and he just said they're concerned with his legs. He told me this on the telephone. I thought John had gone home. He didn't call me. I don't know if he was upset, wasn't feeling well. I logged on to my Facebook account 7:30 on the 27th. And happened to see it popped up first thing on my page. Your brother Jay had mentioned that John died Christmas Day. I thought I was dreaming. I seriously checked your sister-in-law Jamie's account. I checked Jay's account. I checked John's account. It was posted on there too. Someone put it on there for him. And I was in shock. I'll tell you. Big Bubba, whatever you want to call me, Robert Burke is my name. Robert John Burke, by the way, in case you're wondering. My middle name is John. It was named for my grandfather. I started crying. One of my friends, one of my closest friends, one of my guys who was one of the nicest people I ever met, one of the nicest people I have ever met. I'm 55 years old. I read, passed away. It affected me greatly. Steve will attest to this, and so will Joe. I felt it necessary to be at John's wake for the entire time it was on. Out of respect, one, for his family, respect for the man, and respect for his kindness and the fact that I actually told my director this earlier and one of his colleagues. I questioned my own mortality. Sounds a little crazy, but John informed me he had COVID. So I went into COVID protocol, isolating, had to go get a COVID test. I went to the same place John did. I had to wait 5 days for my results. John got his the next day, he got lucky. Had to tell my girlfriend I was around someone who had COVID. He confirmed it the next day. He texted me. I was sick. They told me I had pneumonia in both my lungs. Double pneumonia, both my lungs. I went home and stayed there then it was 10 days protocol. Stayed in my house for 10 days. My girlfriend didn't go anywhere for more than 10 days. We got a call from the doctor. She works locally for a local company here in Attleboro. She worked there for 24 years. We stayed in. Christmas, New Year's. She went out New Year's. She came off protocol. I didn't want to go out New Year's. I just didn't want to be around people. Joking, Bubba, didn't want to be around anybody. I wasn't in the festive New Year's mood. I had to see my primary doctor on the 4th of January, which I did. And it did a follow-up. Thankfully, through prayer and through the help of God, I knock on wood, or simulated wood here, I'm healthier. I'm getting healthier, getting stronger as the weeks go on here. I'm getting very much healthier. We've lost Jake Bredesen, Harold Bredesen, who's been on this stage with you through COVID. We've lost Silvano Sousa. You don't know Silvano Sousa from Bubba. Silvano Sousa, Mike Baker last year sat on this stage. A man who I have the utmost respect for in New England for his wrestling prowess, for his independent wrestling prowess, was trained by Silvano Sousa. We lost him from COVID. Another friend of mine, I just found out today, a good friend of me and my girlfriend's lost her father. Nothing to do with COVID, he went sepsis. Old age, 73. We do this show to promote local wrestling. I've been doing this show, that's the reason why I say go on this show. I've been 40 years in the business, actually 42 now in the business of going to local shows. I started when I was 13, going to shows. Wrestling's kayfabbed, which I've been telling you all along. It affected our pay-per-view last week. Joe will give you the results from it. Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, the Acknowledge Me, the WWF mainstay right now, got COVID. Thankfully, he's still with us. Great athlete. Joe Inoue. I never met him. I did meet his cousin, Rikishi. I can't say his real name. I think it's Fatu, I believe is his last name, but I met him. I met Semi Fatu, his cousin, in person. That's just one person. In Seth Rollins just had COVID and come over it. It affects everybody. It's affecting athletes. 7 Celtics went to COVID protocol. 7 members of the Boston Celtics professional team, COVID. Mills from the Patriots right now is on the COVID protocol. He will not be playing this game against Buffalo this week.
One of the local nursing homes here in Attleboro has 13 staff members and 6 patients have COVID, one of their local nursing homes.
I live in the city of Taunton right now, okay? Hoping to move back maybe to Attleboro soon. Another story for another show. Well, over 1,000 people had COVID last week in my city alone.
Wow. Of
Taunton. People have been approaching me and saying this, like this has, as I said before, this has nothing to do with Attleboro ACS, nothing to do with Steve, Inside Scoop, Joey. This is all my opinion, and I'm saying that as a man. This is a real pandemic, people. It's real. People have their own beliefs. Don't get inoculated. Don't get vaccinated. Don't get booster shotted. The day I came off COVID protocol was Christmas Eve. I went and got my booster shot. Why? Because I don't want anybody to have to go through what we've had to go through for the last 2 weeks. Me being sick, you being sick, you being sick, you burying, you
lucky enough didn't catch it.
You burying your brother, one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life, and I've met thousands upon thousands of people. I know 5 who passed from COVID. 5. Personally. Personal friends of mine. I'm sorry to ramble on, but it's a very serious thing out there.
Yeah, it is.
It's affecting our sporting athletes. It's affecting a couple of members of the Bruins. It's affecting members of the Patriots. Key members of our staff were out because of COVID. They're back. We lost another key member, Mills, who's been playing very good the last couple of games, to COVID. One of the guys who's back on now is I think is Duggar, who's coming off the COVID protocol. I just read this today. Joey's going to read a list of people who passed away.
Now, you mentioned, before Joe reads the list, you mentioned a few names of people who had COVID, has COVID right now, but one of the wrestlers who passed away, who I grew up watching and liked, was Kamala. He passed from COVID, I believe, a year ago.
Yes. James Harris, I believe is the man's real name. Yes. He died from COVID.
Yeah. All right, Joe, you have a list, and before you read off the names, a lot of people were shocked to hear one of the comedian/actors who passed away recently. And they're still investigating his death. I heard it was a medical issue that he passed from. But when you read off the names, we'll talk more about it.
A long list because we haven't been here for a bit.
First, WWE Hall of Famer and legend Blackjack Lanza.
Now, he teamed up with Blackjack Mulligan, right?
Yes.
They were the legendary Blackjacks.
Blackjacks.
Go back into Bubba character here.
Monkey star Mike Nesmith.
Yes. I met Mike Nesmith.
Author Anne Rice.
Yes.
Interview with the Vampire.
Yes, excellent book. Excellent movie.
And we have another wrestler, Corporal Krishna.
Yes, Corporal Krishna I met in Boston once with Sergeant Slaughter. I met the man outright.
I remember him feuding with the Iron Sheik, Corporal Krishna.
Yeah, well, they both did. Did you know that Iron Sheik was one of Nikolai Volkov's best friends, even in real life?
Oh, I never knew that.
Yes.
NFL coach John Madden.
Who hasn't played Madden football on the internet, on Sega or on
actually me.
Nintendo? I've played it a couple times. It's not my thing. It's not my generation. But a little side note. So we'll go into side notes. When why am I drawing a blank? Darryl Stingley got injured by John Horry. Got hit and broke his neck. Got paralyzed. I sat with Darryl Stingley one night for about 5 hours. Singing karaoke, and I sat next to him, spoke to the man. He died about 10 weeks after this.
Wow.
Told me John Madden was the first one on the field to check on him and became one of his closest friends. He used to pick up Darryl and take him places. Always made sure Darryl had a birthday card or a Christmas card, or would be picked up by John and taken places, dinners, restaurants. They became very close friends. It was respect for the man, Darryl Stingley. So I respect John Madden immensely as a coach, as a personality, but as a man who helped another man.
Okay, Hollywood legend and Golden Girls star Betty White.
If she would have turned 100,
yes,
not long
5 days from now.
5 days from now. Wow.
If you had to pick possibly the nicest person I have ever seen on television, never met her, Betty White loved animals. Never talked sass about anybody. Read something on the internet. Read something on my phone a few days ago. There was a colored gentleman, a black gentleman, on her show. She had a TV show back in '55.
Yeah.
And the network said to her, you have to get that black man off the show. She's like, no. He's on my show. My show. I promote the show. He stays on my show. He's in my band.
Yep, I'm glad she did that.
And they said, well, we're going to cancel your show. She said, then cancel it then. But that man's staying on my show. He did have a legendary career as a musician. But Betty White stuck to her guns. Because Betty White was that nice a person.
Yeah. She was a comedian as well.
Funny. A lot of game shows, I mean, TV shows.
She was married to a game show host.
Alan Ludden.
Password.
Alan Ludden was also, people don't realize, was an actor.
Yeah. He got,
Very strong actor.
He appeared in an episode of Adam West Batman as the news reporter.
Yes.
Which I had the series.
I used to like watching her comedy show, Betty White Off Her Rocker. It used to be on Friday nights. It was a comedy. I think it was on NBC.
From Red Sox Jim Corsi.
Jim Corsi. I met Jim Corsi in Saugus. We came in one day to pay his bill with me.
Actor Sidney Poitier.
One of the greatest black actors to ever walk the planet, in my opinion. Denzel's right up there with him. I bet you Denzel based his career on Sidney Poitier. Who hasn't seen Mr. Tibbs? Who hasn't seen To Sir With Love? To Sir With Love broke racial barriers when that movie came out. Mr. Tibbs, I'm here all day mentioning his movies. Again, we've lost great people, but these are just people dying. Continue, Joe.
America's Home Video and Full House star Bob Saget.
Bob Saget, read my mind.
Yeah, but a lot of us was shocked to hear that news. I used to like
That's
watching
being
him.
investigated too. There's something up with that. There's something up with his case.
Oh, okay.
He was
I heard
found-
it was a medical condition.
He was found in a hotel room, and they don't know if it was a medical condition or what it was.
Okay.
Wasn't that old a man?
Because I used to watch Full House, then they reboot Fuller House,
On nuts.
and I haven't caught any episodes of Fuller House. Have
You're
you,
right.
Joe?
It's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix. I have to check it out
So, yeah.
sometime.
How rude? Wasn't that with Jodie Sweet? I'm supposed to see with Jodie
I thought
Sweet.
it was Miley
Jodie said how
Cyrus.
rude. And Nuts was Michelle.
Yeah, with the Olsen twins.
Yeah.
When they were little. Now they're billionaires and smart little girls.
I thought Miley Cyrus said how rude.
Nope.
Okay, wrong show, I guess. Oh yeah, she said
No,
sweet
she
niblets.
said sweet. She said how something else, and I'm not even gonna miss a favorite show.
I got
He's a-
one more. Dobie Gillis star Dwayne Hickman. He
Okay.
played the title role.
Okay. How about the name of? I believe I read today. Bo Ramirez was the bench coach for the Tampa Bay Rays. That was just announced about an hour and a half ago. I saw it on my phone. I'd have mentioned that one. I mean, we're here, we're born, we die. Now we've done 2/3 of the show about morbid and talking death. We don't want to start off 2022 on a sour note, but
Unfortunately.
yeah. I wanted to say my piece on the subject.
Yeah.
Please get vaccinated. Please wear your masks. Please. If you're for it or against it, think of the ramifications of it. I personally think if you don't want to get vaccinated, you're suicidal. And you should get psychiatric help for it. That's my opinion. Has nothing to do with Arabelle ACS, Inside Scoop, Steve, or Joe, or Emilia. Okay?
Does she talk?
Yes, she does.
Okay.
Talks only to Joe, but only at quiet times. She won't talk on camera.
So that's who Joey was talking to on the car ride here.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I mean, he wasn't hanging his hand out the window and barking at cars like he usually does?
Not yet. He'll probably do that on the way home.
Most likely.
Well,
We have results of the last paper.
before I get to the unhappy now, I'd like to wish our host Steve and his niece Emily a late belated happy birthday.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's right. It was my birthday.
I mean,
I'm getting old. Well, besides my age, I'm forgetting that.
to go back
came
and
gone.
then not to step on your thunder of your birthday and belated happy birthday to you. I didn't get anything for your birthday.
Oh, that's all right.
If I take him somewhere, we'll probably get barred for life for going in there. So.
Well, half the restaurants won't serve me, so.
Well, I'll take you to the buffet in Taunton, and we can close that down.
Okay.
The anniversary of my dad's death was yesterday.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Since the last time we were here, we had a pay-per-view. Maybe we have a few minutes to go into the pay-per-view. The wrestling shows, go on the internet and find out. I know RWA just canceled the show. WCCW, where we go to World Class, has announced 3 shows. We're going to see Gangrel again at one of his shows. We're going to see Sergeant Slaughter at one of his shows. They're coming up. I believe it's March the 5th in Hudson. LPW has already announced the show. That's going to be the first one next year, if it happens. RWA just canceled one of their Rumble. It was supposed to happen this past Saturday. I was going to go. Because of what's going on with COVID, T. Phoenix, who's your promoter, and for the safety of his wrestlers and for the fans, because we don't know if the wrestlers have COVID or if the fans have COVID, cancel the show. Expect that. He's putting on great shows. I've been going to him. 80 to 100 people a show.
Wow.
So he's doing something right.
Now, WWE had a pay-per-view, Joe. Which pay-per-view was it?
It was a new one called Day One.
And it happened on New Year's Day. Cool.
We got the WWE title, Fatal 5-Way.
Now,
Explain what was 5-way.
yes. I thought it was going to be a 4-way.
Well, Lesnar was supposed to have a match with Roman Reigns, but Reigns got COVID.
As I just mentioned.
Yeah.
So Lesnar was put into the WWE title match against Big E, Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, and Lashley, and Lesnar won the title. Let's see. Edge versus Miz, Edge won. The Raw Women's title, Becky Lynch against Liv Morgan, Becky won. SmackDown Tag Titles, the Usos against New Day, Usos won. Raw Tag Titles, RK Bro against the Street Profits, RK Bro won. There was Drew McIntyre against Madcap Moss, Drew won. And there was a tag team match, Ricochet and Cesaro versus Sheamus and Holland, and Sheamus and Holland won.
Holland actually, because his nose broke, and Joe didn't wrestle for 90% of that match. And Sheamus pretty much went by himself and won. I think the surprise match of the night, I believe, was McIntyre and Madcap Moss. They put a pretty good wrestling match on.
Yeah,
They really
McIntyre
did.
got injured after the match.
McIntyre hurt his neck when he got jumped out back. He may be out of wrestling for a short while. He has a disc, bulging disc in his neck. It's the same thing that happened to Lita and Edge and Stone Cold. I hope not. I hope he's okay. I hope he comes out. I hope some therapy can help him out. I hope he doesn't take, because he's been really one of the driving forces right now in WWE. Guy I have a lot of respect for.
Now our annual pay-per-view it's in this month, the Royal Rumble. WWE title, Lesnar versus Lashley.
Pick him. Pick one.
I'm going to go with Lesnar.
No contest. Because they're going to continue for WrestleMania.
Okay.
There's not going to be a winner. Either a double count out or something's going to happen, double disqualification.
Who you picked to win, Joe?
I'll go with the Beast. Lesnar did make a challenge to Roman Reigns, title for title, but he didn't say where it was going to take place.
Yeah, probably WrestleMania, like Bubba was mentioning.
We got a mixed tag match. The Hall of Fame couple of Edge and Beth Phoenix versus The Miz and Maurice.
I'm going to go with Edge and Beth Phoenix.
I want Edge and Beth Phoenix. I think Edge and Beth Phoenix are much more qualified than The Miz and Maurice, but somehow Miz and Maurice are going to win that match. I don't know how, but somehow.
I'm going to go with the Hall of Fame. The only Hall of Fame couple. Universal title, Reigns against his fellow Shield brother, Rollins.
I picked Roman Reigns.
I pick Roman Reigns too.
Who you pick?
I'll say Rollins. And lastly, Raw Women's title, Becky versus Doudrop.
I'm going to go with Becky for this one.
I'm going to go with Becky.
Make it unanimous.
Because I think Liv Morgan's going to go after her again in WrestleMania.
Yeah.
What'd you think of this past week on Raw when Nikki ASH turned on Rhea Ripley?
I was surprised. I was actually on the phone talking to Joe when that happened, and I asked him, am I seeing this right? I could not believe she turned heel. That surprised me.
I think AJ Styles is turning face.
Now, Omos, he's been on a wrecking path. Let's see,
He wrestled some,
AJ, but this past week was a squash match. He wrestled a no-name.
he wrestled some ham and egg guy from I don't know where.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was that guy, I would have ran. Seriously. Hello? Why would you have a match? Where'd they pull this guy out of the audience?
If I was that guy, I would have stayed in the back, eat dinner.
Food always ends up at food.
Matter of fact, I got 2 words. I'm hungry.
You were born hungry.
Matter of fact, I think I'll have some chili dogs later after
That's
tonight's
good.
taping.
Knock yourself out. I have pizza in my car. I got it from
Uh-oh.
an establishment.
You had to say it, did you?
Did you say pizza? You have any left over?
Yes. No.
Oh, okay.
I'm bringing some home for my girlfriend, and no.
Ah, man. Well,
I mean,
I'm a friend of yours. You can give me a few slices or perhaps the whole pizza. I'm sure she won't mind.
No problem. You give me your vehicle,
Oh, boy.
or when we go, if I do go with you to Tex Barry's local establishment. you buy me-
Excellent chili dogs.
Yeah, you guys are the best chili dogs. Well, I want to thank all you fans out there. Sorry for a kind of a morbid show, but we'll get it off. It's all off our chest now. I want to thank AACS for allowing us to tape. I want to thank our director for taping us. I want to thank Steven for letting me be on the show. Joey for his lists. Emilia for her input. About as much as Emily's right now.
Someday I'll get her to talk to me.
You'll be all right.
Okay.
But if I had to pick one person who passed away, other than your brother John, Betty White.
Yeah,
Betty White was one of the kindest, sweetest people.
She was.
God bless you, John
Really
Scanlon.
funny, too.
I love
See
you.
ya.